Vinny from Backstage. Pleasure to meet you all. I always say that doing these things kind of like feels like I'm on trial, but that has never felt more apparent looking at this group, looking at this look back at me, so I'm going to seem to get past that. Season 25, congratulations. It's a huge, huge milestone. We have people coming back for their 5th season, their 3rd season, their 2nd season. But I do want to go back a little bit because, you know, this is such a huge franchise to be in. I just want to ask each of you if you sort of remember the first scene you ever shot for Law & Order and how you were feeling on that day?
Yeah.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Go in any order you'd like.
I remember not so much the first scene I shot, but the first day we shot was also Sam Waterston's first day back, and walking with him from the makeup trailer into the exact recreation of his office that he hadn't been in for 11 years, you know, which was on a different stage altogether, because they used to film in Chelsea Piers, and here we are in Long Island City, and just watching his mind kind of melt, basically. Not just in terms of how did they rebuild this, but in terms of the cumulative impact of a lifetime, or a good part of a lifetime and a career's worth of work, you know, suddenly reappearing in front of him. That was incredible, and it made me feel even more daunted than I already was to go into the scene with him. But being the guy he was very generous, of course. But yeah, it was very memorable.
My first scene was actually with you, Hugh.
Yeah.
I came in, when I joined, it was kind of a whirlwind. I got the call just before Thanksgiving, and the sort of deal and all that stuff kind of came together. And then right after Thanksgiving, I shipped out to New York from LA. And they sort of threw me right in. I remember being very nervous because I had a lot of reverence for this show. But thankfully, Hugh and I go back a ways. And it was nice to have a buddy, a familiar face, but there I am in the iconic courtroom, sort of delivering this very dry testimony and hoping that I'm doing a good job. But it was fun. But I was nervous. I was really nervous.
I remember my first scene, my first day. We were shooting on the street by the courthouse, and I had exactly 2 weeks to pack my life in LA and move here, and it was November, and it was probably the coldest November that I've experienced in New York City. My body was not used to that temperature, and I was freezing.
Yeah.
We were outside. It was like, it's a lot of hype. I was intimidated and nervous. I couldn't get the words out because my jaw kept
that's hard.
Freezing,
Because
right?
your face is so cold,
I was like,
you can't
they
act.
thought I was wearing like a purple or dark lipstick. Meanwhile, it was just my lips. And it was just. It's very nerve-wracking and like really exciting at the same time. And thank God I had Hugh with me for emotional support.
Theme that we're
It
developing.
is, Thank God with you.
If you can get them there on the first day, it's going to work.
Yeah.
What do you love about Hugh?
He's #1 on the show. You better say something.
What don't I love about it?
Spare me a list.
I didn't work with you on my first day, but I'm sure I would have loved it if I had I. I work with
That's right. Yeah, you and me.
and Makad.
And Makad.
And my friend Eric LaSalle
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
from ER, which was nice. So I had a buddy.
Love Eric.
I had a buddy there too.
Yeah.
I was nervous too.
Oh, with that crazy sort of mansion, right? In like the Upper West Side?
Yeah.
We were on the Upper West Side.
Yeah, with that long staircase.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
that was ugly,
Yeah.
but very
Yes,
expensive.
yes.
Hideous.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I remember
Ugly
that
but
one.
expensive.
We were
Yeah.
like,
Ugly
oh my
but
God, it can
expensive
have
is
all
what
the
we
money
do.
in the world,
Yeah.
but it doesn't buy taste.
Right.
It's most of those places in New York,
Yeah.
absolutely. And for you?
For me, I remember it was maybe it was with both of you, I can't remember, but it was in my office. And I remember the context was that I was redesigning, it was kind of ridiculous. I was with an interior designer talking about redesigning my office to make it different than the legendary Sam McCoy. Did we get into a
Which
Jack
includes
McCoy?
the TV.
See, I didn't even know his name. Legendary Jack McCoy, Sam Waterston,
It's funny how that's how they chose to kind of draw a line.
Yeah.
He brings an interior decorator, and then
obviously I should have. Yeah.
Oh, you were.
So yeah. So it was
likes tape?
what?
Who really likes tape?
there's a lot of tape.
There's
There's a lot of tape
Yeah.
in your
Yeah.
desk.
Yeah.
There's several
Several tape dispensers.
But also McCoy would read newspapers, and then all of a sudden now we have this TV. in your office, and that was never there before.
Yeah, so it was about that, and then basically doing a scene with Hugh where you were very much not sure if Baxter was
That's
a
right.
shady
Yeah.
character or not.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you all mentioned, it helps to have a buddy, to have somebody, to share a scene partner on your first day. And one of the beauties of Law and Order, all these people come into the show, day players, guest stars, stuff like that. So just, just as actors, how do you work to get on the same wavelength with somebody who's, not even these big guest stars, like day players, people coming in for like one scene, one line of dialogue, and you have to sort of get on the same level very quickly.
I find it just as like when you're a series regular, when there is a day player coming on, particularly if have got not that much to do, is to immediately let them know that they're as important as anybody on the show and that they're welcome and that they're an important part of our thing because it's so hard to do that job. Like
But
we've all
also,
been there.
you get there are so many people that come through on this show
Yeah.
that you get every variety of it, right? People that come in and are just there, and there's no better or worse here, but people who come in who are nervous, people who come in who are incredibly prepared, people who come in who are ready but just kind of want to see what happens, and so you have to kind of roll with their energy mostly.
And it's also like to be able to see what they go and accomplish after that. Like I was just telling Hugh earlier today, I was watching, am I allowed to say the name of the show? So I was just watching.
It's not on NBC.
And I was watching. I went to the screening, and I was watching this actor, and I go, I know him. I've watched him in something incredible. He did an incredible work. I can't put my finger on it, but he was so good, and he's so deserving of this part, this huge part in this amazing TV show. And I really couldn't put my finger on it. And then at the after party, all of a sudden, I feel someone hugging me from behind, and it's him, and I'm like, wait, hold on. And he goes, Law and Order. That was my first big thing. And this was literally just almost not even a year ago. And and then he introduces me to like his team, and they're like, oh my God. He told us that you made him feel so comfortable. And it's just so interesting to see how people come into the show very nervous, and they're afraid that they mess up, and then they go and they do something incredible, and you feel like you're part of the process, which feels so special.
Absolutely. I mean, looking back on all of your IMDb pages, you all have the one episode experience early in your career. I mean, New Adventures with Robin Hood, stuff like Matlock, stuff like that. When you think back to those experiences, is there anything that's memorable in terms of having a good experience and what that did for you as an early career actor?
Have you had a good experience or a bad experience?
Any experience you want to tell me,
Yeah.
I got some bad ones.
please.
Yeah.
Because that shapes you just as much.
I remember I did an episode. I won't name any names, but I did an episode of a show that was a bit of a police procedural, and I played a suspect. It was not the Law and Order franchise, which is just beyond reproach.
Put that on the screen.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we were doing a courtroom scene that I thought was really intense. And there was an actor who was, and I get it, because Maura and I, we can speak firsthand that, we're dealing with some dark themes in the show. And in between takes, you got to sort of keep it light so you can keep your sanity. So we joke around a little bit. But when it comes time to shoot, we take it very seriously. And there was an actor who was really not taking it seriously. And there was another actor who was relatively young on the stand. And they were almost like being heckled by this other actor. And I was young enough in my career to realize, okay, mental note, something to never, ever do. So, and to go back to what you guys were saying, to make these guest actors
Feel.
at wherever they are in their career feel welcome,
Yeah.
a safe place to explore what they want to do. And
Yeah.
that stuck with me.
That happened to me, and I was, I joined a show as not gonna name names, but as like a recurring character, and the lead of the show wasn't very welcoming, quite the opposite, and I don't know, it's been a while since she, yeah, well, that happened, but it was so hard, it was really hard, because, I was very green, very new, I did a good job, and like, that's the number one thing, you have to be welcoming, and you have to be nice.
I told you guys this story when I was one of my very first jobs as a guest star on a TV show back in the 80s. The lead of the show was a cop show, and the lead of the show, who had been a professional football player in a previous career,
O.J. Simpson.
Huh? No, it wasn't OJ. No. When it was his show, and so had our scene together, one of our scenes together, and during my coverage, when the camera was on me, he's off stage and he has a bag of Doritos next to him. And
Noisy as possible.
And as he's having a Dorito in his hand, and as I would say my dialogue, as soon as I'd finish my dialogue, he'd crunch the Dorito.
Oh my
so that he wasn't
That's
like,
a version of
he wasn't
considerate.
he wasn't stepping on my line, but he'd be like, I'd go, yes, Barbara, and then he'd go, huh? And then he'd say his lines. And all I'd be thinking is, he gonna crunch the Dorito? The weirdest.
Did you ever watch that performance back? Is that
No, I would never watch those early performances. Oh my God.
Oh, God.
We will track it
That
down.
would be
probably.
torture.
Trying to think of the show's name. What was that, Kirk, that actor?
Cameron?
Yeah, what was that show?
Oh,
No.
Growing Pains.
Growing Pains. I was fired from that show.
Were you?
Yeah.
You were?
Yeah.
wow.
Please do go on.
I was a guest star, and I think the director just kept saying to me, watch Kirk, do it like Kirk. And I guess I didn't do it enough like
That's great
Kirk.
direction right there.
Yeah,
Wow,
exactly.
that's a perfect direction.
So, and then,
Being fired
I
to
was
being a
fired.
guest star?
yeah.
It's awful.
It's so awful.
How depressing.
Actually, I know, but I'm all
Sometimes
right.
it's a relief. I've been fired.
It was actually not a fun gig.
Who's been fired?
Lisa Kudrow keeps
I've been
saying
fired.
how she got fired from Frasier, and that was the best thing that happened to her because she got friends.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's very specific.
Yeah.
And
So
that
if you get
wasn't a
fired,
welcoming
you'll
sign.
get
Probably, yeah.
You'll get rich.
I got fired from a pilot that never went anywhere, but it was a comedy, and I was so miscast, and I knew it from day one.
I knew it too.
That when I was fired, it was like a mercy killing, and I was so grateful.
Oh, you were?
To have been fired, yeah, because I was like, I was not the right fit, and you know it, and I think that's part of your
Yeah.
responsibility as an actor too, to sort of know, if you're the right fit or not, and
Yeah.
you're not always the right fit, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Like this, we're at Backstage, a lot of people who read us, they're early career actors, so they want to be where you are, but right now they are getting fired and, doing stuff like that. So those are the kind of stories that
So
help a
hard.
lot, because it does,
I got fired from
rite
a
of
movie.
passage.
It was a terrible movie. Everything, it was just a disaster. And even though when I got fired, I was really hard to process. I was so depressed.
Right.
It really hurts this industry is tough enough, the
Yeah.
injection is
'Cause
crazy,
even
and then
though-
you get a job and you get fired. Wow. Can't believe what it does to your,
It
can't
does.
imagine what it does to your self-esteem.
At the time, I was relieved, but it sticks with you, like,
sure.
on your
Yeah,
next
yeah.
job, like, oh no, what if that
You
happened?
instantly panic. You're
Yeah.
like, that's it. My career's
Right,
done now,
yeah.
forever. Yeah.
So we're all very
Usually people
tough.
say, I won't believe it until I'm on set the first day. You go, no,
Yeah.
you can't even believe it then.
Exactly.
Too
Well,
soon.
I mean, you mentioned all these past projects, so I'm curious, every show, every project has its own sort of energy and flow and stuff like that. So what is Law & Order's, it's been around for so long, it has people come in and out. What makes it work, from the other side, from people that are in the machinery of it? Like, what makes it work unlike other things?
Well,
The writers
every
first.
show
Good
has its
writers,
own. Yeah, that's true. But putting aside the quality of the work, the ecosystem of the people that happen to be involved who decide that they want to make it a decent working environment, that's basically the thing. And there's and that you can have like people doing really great work and also just not really looking after each other. So happens that on this show,
Yeah.
like
It's really fun to
there's
come
a
to
lot of-
work. It just really does feel like a family, and all of us we have good chemistry. We love working with each other.
I get
and-
much more abused by my family actually.
And our crew is incredible.
We have this crew,
True,
the
it's
work
true.
ethic of our crew is just second to none. I mean,
Yeah.
the energy that they bring, our camera operators, our art department has changed so many spaces.
And just the spellings of so many words.
Yeah,
God,
we've had some spelling
That's an
issues.
inside joke.
Yeah.
In God we rest.
It's true that at the back of our courtroom is, the
In God
famous
we
sign,
trust.
"In God we trust," but the letters were just a little out of whack and it actually read, "In God wet rust." Yeah. And then one day it got moved.
Plus, the dressing rooms feel a little like a dorm to me sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Because, like, we're on the same floor,
Yeah.
four of us.
Who's your RA?
Alex. Like the executive producer, there's
Alex has all this like titles
on his door. It feels very collegiate. That's nice.
Yeah, they put a premium on building a culture,
Yeah.
and they've
Yeah.
really perfected it
Yeah.
over 35 years, whatever it's been.
I picture, Law and Order. When somebody say Law and Order, I picture 2 to 3 people walking, talking, holding a coffee cup, through the streets of New York or through the walls of where they work. I want to ask about the classic sort of walk and talk, mixing choreography, legal jargon, the lines, the extras, stuff like that. Just as actors, how you've gotten used to the classic Law and Order, just that classic image of moving and talking and but really feeling like you're just people in New York doing what you do every day.
Does anybody feel like that?
Yeah.
Honest question. I mean, I feel like I'm still trying to figure that out and make it feel natural.
I don't know. I feel like it's a muscle. I mean, don't you feel like it's more natural now than it was in the beginning?
Maybe.
I feel.
The hard part I find is you'll do that, but then where we shoot, like, all of a sudden you add a 20-mile-an-hour wind as you go through a tunnel, and so like it's freezing cold wind. You got you're trying to have your
Yeah.
shoulder bag of coffee,
Yeah.
the dialogue, and keep it at pace, and then it's fun. But it's a fun
Those
challenge,
scenes are
really.
short and they're packed with information and they're obviously very, very familiar in a way, but they're not actually natural. So for me, it's trying to strike the balance of like, okay, how much should I be just throwing this away and
Yeah.
being like doing it as if it's super casual? But if I do that, is that flying like totally against what's actually been written, which is full of important stuff?
Yeah.
So
And how
I
much
really am
do they
serious
have to
about
But
it.
when you say
Yeah,
that on
like,
the street,
how much do I have to land it
Yeah.
versus just seem like a dude walking down the street
Yeah.
having a coffee? And that's what I mean about not really still having figured that out.
Yeah, I agree with that.
We had a scene just the other day, downtown in the financial district where we're talking, and we're actually, it's a rather personal conversation. It's not really, it wasn't so much police jargon.
And it wasn't about the case, really.
No.
Yeah.
It's how we're sort of affected by the case,
Yeah.
which we love having
did
those
it feel
conversations. It did, and we also because we're having this rather intimate conversation, but we're outside in public, and so we've got all of our extras sort of filling in and building that texture. But then we also probably had like 60 onlookers of fans
Right.
just
Yeah,
watching
yeah,
us.
Yeah, and that's the part that doesn't feel like doesn't feel natural to me, because in real life, if we
don't
had an
always have
intimate
60
conversation,
people
I wouldn't be choosing to say that on the street
Yeah.
with a coffee cup that's surrounded by all this noise and people. So yeah.
That's what's exciting about shooting in New York too, though. It's just you're dealing with not only the elements of weather and the infrastructure of the city, but the people. That's what sort of makes it. And when we're out there on location, we might be walking from trailer to location, and without fail, you get someone who's sort of like, Law and Order, love you guys.
Yeah.
It's like it's really cool. You sort
Yeah.
of get that nice shot in the arm on a daily basis.
I mean, looking back at past interviews from anyone who's done Law and Order, it's just like that's the constant.
Yeah.
I love filming in New York because people will scream at you. Whereas you don't usually want that.
Yeah.
It's
Or
so-
get off my block.
No, it's
Yeah.
nice. But at the same time, we don't really get bothered. Like, our trailers are on the street. Our names are on them, and like you're able to just walk from your trailer to the coffee shop and go on a walk away lunch, and because people care in New York, but they don't care that much.
Right.
Like
So
utility
you're
line
just
workers.
able to still.
Yeah.
I feel like if we were in LA, that would
right.
be a whole another experience, which is why I love New York so much.
Absolutely. Has anyone truly mastered the coffee cup acting element of it? Because I know that is a much holding a coffee cup naturally.
Gonna demonstrate?
Let me show you
Yes,
with
we
my
should.
Law and Order branded coffee. Yeah, just carry on,
Yeah.
just act natural.
Yeah. I try not to sip from
That's
it because then I
amazing,
know I would
That's
have
really
to
good.
sip
That-
so much
that
coffee
looks so natural.
or
Do you
whatever's in
actually
that
have
cup.
coffee in there? 'Cause I
Do you
couldn't
have
do
It
coffee
looked
in
like
the
he was
cup?
just drinking.
Do you have coffee in the cup during the scene? Isn't that a big,
I
big
sometimes
no-no?
I do. Sometimes I'll have tea, but I just know that I would have to hit it every time. And we're on the street. If you have to use the bathroom, you just don't want to. It's the same if we have a scene where we often have a scene where we work late nights and we have our takeaway, whether it's Chinese or a salad, and I'm not gonna take a bite because then I'm gonna have to do it on every take, and that's.
But then you just
Yeah.
eat it when the cameras aren't rolling.
That I eat it
Always.
before to make it look like
Oh, it's like
someone ate
method.
it. It's method. It's method.
I love that. So, as we sort of wrap up here a bit, like I said, Backstage is a lot of working New York actors, people who might do the dead body or,
Yeah.
the jogger who discovers, anything like that. you all clearly have a lot of experience on all different kinds of sets, welcoming people in, being the new person. If somebody wants to sort of, either stand out or just make the most of what they're doing, what is your piece of advice for being in a small role, but doing it in a way that feels right?
There are no small roles. There are only small people. I feel.
You-
Just
I
be yourself.
Like do as much work as you can to be ready without stressing yourself out, and then come ready to expecting to or wanting to have a good time.
Yeah.
And then everybody else will have a good time with you.
Yeah.
And just be open to what the director wants. I feel like a lot of actors, they audition a certain way and they feel like, okay, I booked the role because I did that, and then they don't
hard to
open
get
their
past
mind. It's hard to get past that, and I mean I remember that from auditioning myself and doing guest stars, and even Law and Order. Same thing happened to me, and then I was kind of like, oh wait, hold on. They booked you because of the personality or whatever that is, but you should be able to be open to what the director wants you to do.
Or what the other actors
Or
do.
or listening to the other actor and working off of
I think this is a pretty small, it ends up feeling like a small community, the world of acting. So sometimes it's not about standing out in the role that you're doing, but like Hugh said, when you come in and just do the job really, really well, good work begets other work,
Yeah.
and word gets around. The
yeah.
director notices that's a person I can work with.
Yeah.
Another actor says, I really enjoyed working with that person. So when the wheel turns and it's your time to get that job again,
Yeah.
Right.
you've
Yeah.
got a support system that
Yeah.
you might not even know that you had, but people say that's a professional that I
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to work
Yeah.
opposite
Yeah.
again.
I mean, me and Reid, we worked on a different show with the same director that we have, like a regular director that we have, and David Grossman, and
What show?
Why Women Kill.
Oh, right,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and it is a small, tiny industry after all.
Yeah.
Any other pieces of lasting advice to give to anyone?
So
hard
don't
to
wait,
say.
I don't ask for permission. A lot of times one of the stresses on somebody coming in and just doing a little bit, and you're dropping into a group where everyone knows each other and you're kind of coming in and you can sometimes feel constrained, like you don't want to do the wrong thing,
Yeah.
or you want to make sure you make waves. And I would urge people not to feel that way at all, and that don't ask permission to do something. Just have your point of view and do your thing. And then a good director will say, that's cool, maybe try it this other way. But you need to see people afraid to assert themselves, and that's why they've hired you, because, so you can just do your thing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, like I said, season 25, I know everyone is very excited. I know that we are. I know the world is. And we can't wait for it. Thank you so much for this, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.